Welcome to the premiere edition of Gallantry in this first week of January 2025. I am your host, Godwin Amunde. As we step into this new year, we are filled with hope and optimism that 2025 will mark the beginning of the end of insurgency, banditry, kidnapping, and other forms of criminality plaguing our nation. Gallantry, the heroic exploit of the Nigerian military. It is a captivating television program that delves into the diverse and often unseen operations of the Nigerian Military Task Force (GTF) across the country's 6 geopolitical zones. Each episode will embark on a captivating journey, exploring a specific JTF operation within a unique zone. Viewers will be immersed in the heart of the action, witnessing firsthand the challenges, strategies, and triumphs of the Nigerian military as they tackle pressing security concerns in their respective regions. Join me every Saturday at 3 p.m. on Rapid Television, channel 176 on the Star Times decoder for an interesting expository package.
I am Major General Edward Buba, the Director, Defense Media Operations at Defense Headquarters. For more on our activities, stay tuned to Gallantry on Rapid Television.
You can as well follow us on all our social media handles. The Nigerian military has pledged to leave no stone unturned in its quest to root out these threats, and we are confident that their unwavering dedication will yield tangible results.
Gentlemen officers and personnel of the Armed Forces of Nigeria, I want to thank you very much for your commitment, for your sacrifice, for your dedication to duty. Together, we have worked tirelessly to ensure that Nigeria survives, Nigeria is secured. The work is still on. We'll continue to do so. We'll pay special tribute to our colleagues that have died, paid the supreme price. Particularly, you've mentioned is the former Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tariq Lagbaja, who passed on a few weeks ago, and those other ones that were also injured one way or the other. I want to assure you that we're together with you, with the families. We will not let you down. We will ensure that you are properly taken care of. Your commitment and sacrifice will not go unnoticed. Because of that, we will ensure you that we want to restore total peace in Nigeria. We assure you that we're all committed, we're all focused. 2025 is another year coming ahead. It's a defining year for all of us. We want to make sure that we do more. The President Commander-in-Chief has mandated us to put more efforts in all the regions to ensure that there is peace, especially the South-South area, so that we have full restoration of production, so that Nigeria can benefit. And once the economy is good, we believe that peace and security will improve. So I want to appeal to all of you not to get tired, not to get discouraged. there is light at the end of the tunnel, and we are hitting it, we are getting there. Those criminals, those bandits, those kidnappers, our own warning to them is, let them fizzle out as they started. We will not relent until we bring every one of them to book, especially those ones that are supporting them directly or indirectly. All their sponsors, all their logisticians, all their informants are not going to be free. We want to call on all Nigerians to put hands together to ensure that we succeed. It is not a challenge for the armed forces or security forces alone. It's a Nigerian challenge, and all Nigerians must put hands together to succeed. Unity is what we preach. We're here to protect and defend democracy. We stand by democracy both within and outside the country. We assure you of our commitment. We want to thank Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief, for his untiring effort to us and the support. Victory is assured. God is with us. I want to congratulate all of us and wish us Happy New Year. Thank you and God bless you all.
Let's join the Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, for the summary of the last press briefing in the year 2024 on troops' operational activities across various theaters.
Over the last 12 months, we were confronted by several threats across the country, and these threats ranged from armed banditry to kidnapping for ransom to crude oil theft to violent extremism, insurgency, as well as terrorism, among others. Several of these threats, needless to say, adversely affected innocent citizens and disrupted peace and security across our country. It is important to realize that the terrorists exist for the sake of war and for the sake of peace. They must be destroyed. This reason that our troops have continued relentless and painful pressure on the terrorist enclaves, hideouts, and strongholds as an incentive to speedily defeat the terrorists and hastily end the war. During the course of the year, troops eliminated over 1,000 notable terrorist leaders, as well as their replacements. We eliminated also their commanders and combatants, among others. We also assure that similar fates await those parading themselves as terror leaders and commanders today. Persons like Bello Turji, take it from me, is merely a dead man walking, as he will soon follow suit with many others that have been eliminated during the course of the year. To refresh your memory, I will reel out some of the names of notable terrorist leaders that we've taken out. Duse Mai Nasara Ida, Malam Saleh Umaru, Mohammed Amadu, Abubakar Musa, Adamu Tanko Ibrahim, Yellow Dogon Rakumi, Isia Boderi, and Alhaji Baldu. Others are Usman Modi Kachala, Halilu, Kachala Tukur, Amir Ibrahim Bukar, Seidu Hassan Yellow, Bakura Jega, Abba Tukur, among several others. I will say that we will not hesitate to defend the country from terror attacks with overwhelming military force in order to continue to deliver tangible benefits for all Nigerians to see and witness. To this end, during the year, we neutralized over 10,937 terrorists. We arrested over 12,538 of them, while rescuing over 7,063 rescued hostages. Now, this is significant in terms of degrading the military capabilities as well as the fighting capabilities of these terrorists. Additionally, troops recovered over 8,815 weapons, over 228,000 ammunition, even as we denied the oil theft of an estimated sum of 68 billion naira since January this year. Now, this is indicative of how our operations contribute in boosting the daily crude oil production of our nation and improve the nation's revenue. The breakdown of recoveries made from the terrorists in the course of the year are as follows. We recovered over 4,332 AK-47 rifles, over 1,244 locally fabricated guns, over 838 den guns, 259 pump-action guns, and over 29,000 assorted ammunition, among other items recovered. As I earlier mentioned, we also recovered over 56 million liters of stolen crude oil and over 9 million liters of illegally refined AGO, otherwise known as diesel, among other items. Let me now take us through our various operations, beginning with the Northeast, where we have Operation Hardenkei. The troops of Operation Hardenkei fought intensely against the terrorists all through the year. Indeed, the troops invaded terrorist hideouts, strongholds, and enclaves to flush out terrorists and destroy them wherever they were hibernating in the Northeast theater of operation. Offensive operations were conducted to known terrorist safe havens in Sambisa Forest, Timbuktu Triangle, as well as the Tumbus, which is along the Lake Chad Basin. Several terrorist leaders, commanders, and their families surrendered as a result of the intensity of troops operations. The operations also saw the neutralization of several terrorist commanders, some of who are, to refresh your memory again, we took out persons like Amir Gering Mazu, Husseini Ardo, Habu Muhammad, Buba Kachala, Bukar, among others. Additionally, troops rescued, kidnapped hostages, and arrested terrorist collaborators in the course of their operations. Overall, Since January to date, troops of Operation Hadinke neutralized 3,151 terrorists, arrested over 2,500 of them, even as they rescued over 1,600 kidnapped hostages in the course of the year. Additionally, the troops recorded 16,171 surrendered terrorists, combatants, and their family during the course of the year. The summary of recovered items include over 1,800 AK-47 rifles, over 446 fabricated rifles, over 438 den guns, and over 378 assorted arms, among others. Next, the troops of Operation Safe Haven significantly restored peace in the plateau through their operations. The operations resulted in the neutralization of several terrorists and violent extremist leaders, commanders, and combatants in the course of the year. Additionally, troops in fierce contact with violent extremists and terrorists neutralized several terrorists, which include Mohammed Sani Kau Haman, Malam Abubakar Muhammad, Malam Yau Adamu, Daihiru Idi alias Yellow, among several others that were neutralized in the North Central Theater of Operation. Troops also rescued several kidnapped hostages and arrested suspected violent extremists as well as gun runners. The offensive posture of the troops secured the release of several kidnapped hostages and significantly curtailed the activities of the terrorists and violent extremists operating within that theater of operation. Overall, the troops of Operation Safe Haven neutralized 447 violent extremists. They arrested 1,995 of them and rescued 1,094 kidnapped hostages in the course of their operations during the year. The troops also recovered 254 AK-47 rifles, 321 fabricated weapons, and 314 assorted ammunition, among other items recovered. Still in the North Central, let's take a look at Operation Wild Stroke. The troops of Operation Wild Stroke sustained their operations all through the year in Benue, Taraba, and Nasarawa states. These operations significantly delivered damages to terrorist fighting capabilities. Troops hunted the terrorists and destroyed them in areas in which they were hibernating. Troops also arrested several notorious gun runners, kidnappers, and terrorist collaborators in the course of the year. Additionally, troops' onslaught largely degraded the potency of the violent extremists and neutralized several notable terrorist leaders. And these include Rimami alias Omo, Matthew Tise, Ali Ibrahim, Yusuf Musa, Usman, Umar, among others. Overall, the troops of Operation Wild Stroke neutralized 600 terrorists, arrested over 1,600 of them, and rescued over 688 kidnapped hostages in the course of their operations this year. Troops also recovered 295 AK-47 rifles, 315 assorted arms, and over 13,000 rounds of 7.62mm special ammunition, among others. The troops of Operation Hadirindaji continued all through the year to create a conducive and stable security environment for agricultural activities and other forms of socio-economic activities in Kaduna, Katsina, Kebbi, Sokoto, and Zamfara State in the northwest, as well as Niger State in the north central. Troops' operations resulted in several notable terrorists eliminated from the battlefield. As a refresher, some of those taken out include Lawali Gudwa, aka Damina, Buhari Alhaji Halidu, aka Buhari Yadi, and Mohammed Sani, aka Peter, among others. Overall, the troops of Operation Hadirindaji in the course of the year neutralized 2,906 terrorists, arrested 1,826 of them, and rescued over 2,616 kidnapped hostages. Additionally, the troops recovered 1,450 AK-47 rifles, 477 fabricated guns, and 576 assorted arms, among others. Still in the northwest, let us take a peep at Operation Wild Punch. The troops of Operation Wild Punch delivered significant damage to the terrorist military capabilities all through the air. Indeed, the troops' onslaught resulted in surrendering of terrorists in the north central theater of operation. The troops' tenacity and operational intensity led to the elimination of several violent extremists and terrorist leaders. And by way of refreshing your memory, we took out people like Riwanu Ahmad, Jamilu Samalia, Tukul Shami, among others in the course of the year. Overall, the troops of Operation Wild Punch neutralized 742 terrorists, arrested 1,877 of them, and rescued 595 kidnapped hostages in the course of their operations this year. The troops equally recovered over 364 AK-47 rifles, over 300 assorted arms, among other items recovered in the course of operations this year. Let's now move to the South-South, where we have Operation Delta Safe. The troops of Operation Delta Safe maintained the momentum against the activities of crude oil theft. The troops continue to find and destroy illegal refining sites, as well as arrest the perpetrators of crude oil theft. Indeed, the troops' operation spiked the nation's daily crude oil production to close to 2 million barrels per day, which we have today. During the course of the year, troops of Operation Delta Safe neutralized 78 terrorists, arrested 2,357 persons involved in crude oil theft and other violent extremist activities, even as they rescued 93 kidnapped hostages. The troops also denied the oil theft of over 56 million liters of stolen crude oil in the course of their operations this year. Also, they denied the oil theft of over 9 million liters of AGO, otherwise known as diesel, and over 95,000 liters of DPK, otherwise known as kerosene, and over 156,000 liters of PMS, otherwise known as petrol. Furthermore, the troops recovered 538 assorted weapons, over 13,000 assorted ammunition, and they destroyed over 2,000 wooden boats, as well as over 2,600 illegal refining sites in the course of their operations this year. Now to the southeast, we have Operation Udoka. The troops of Operation Udoka sustained the momentum in finding, flushing out, and destroying the indigenous people of Biafra and their Eastern Security Network terror members at locations in which they were hibernating. The troops of Operation Udoka, in the course of their operations, intercepted and arrested several of these indigenous people of Biafra and their Eastern Security Network members, some of whom are Chimmere, aka Bamba, Jeremiah Uzoma, aka Escobar, Tochukwu Awo, aka Ojoto, as well as Egwatu, among others that were taken out in the course of operations this year. Overall, during the course of the year, the troops of Operation Udoka neutralized 734 terrorists, arrested 974 of them, including other criminals, and rescued 372 kidnapped hostages in the course of operations this year. Additionally, troops recovered 167 AK-47 rifles, 259 pump-action guns, as well as over 9,000 rounds of 7.62mm special ammunition, among others. I will say that it is no news that terrorists have not only constituted a nuisance to our nation, but have constituted a global threat to other nations based on their affiliations. Accordingly, the terror activities in the Sahel region, as well as in the West African region, have direct consequences on the security situation in our nation. Consequently, it behoves on us as a force to not just concentrate on our local security in our nation, but to also seek collaboration with neighboring countries and regional bodies to tackle the menace of terrorism. That said, as we have shown against the terrorists in several arenas, we will defend our nation's territorial integrity and secure our citizens against terrorists. Many of what we have witnessed in this year, 2024, is a sign of major defeat of the terrorists in the new year, 2025. The military high command indeed draws a lot of comfort from our troops in the field, given that they are in high spirits, they are fully committed, they are devoted, and they believe in the justness of the cause. We are also of the conviction that there is no other alternative but victory. Consequently, I will inform you that we are inching towards a clear and decisive victory over these terrorists that have ravaged our land and killed our citizens. In the coming year, we are proud that we are willing to go the extra mile to get the job done. Decisive victory. On the whole, citizens must know that this war is not just for the armed forces alone, but for all of us, even as ordinary citizens. The military, therefore, needs more of citizen support in winning the war. Please.
As a prestigious military academy, the Nigerian Defense Academy, NDA, plays a crucial role in training officer cadets for the Nigerian Armed Forces. For those aspiring to join the Nigerian military as officer cadets, understanding the training and activities at the NDA is essential. The NDA was established on February 5th, 1964, to meet the defense needs of independent Nigeria. Its primary role is to provide officer cadets with knowledge, skills, and values necessary to become military officers through military academic and character development. As you watch this documentary on the 69th regular course, you will gain insight into the rigorous training and activities that shape the future officers of the Nigerian Armed Forces. Enjoy.
Established in 1964, the Nigerian Defense Academy has the mandate of training officer cadets in the acquisition of skills, knowledge, and values desired to build upstanding military officers through comprehensive academic and military training. Since its establishment, the Academy has trained 9,429 regular officer cadets till date. Subsequently, from 1985 to 2021, a total of 5,858 regular course cadets graduated from the Academy with bachelor's degree in various fields. Considering the evolving nature of threats and the corresponding operational environment in Nigeria, The Nigerian Defense Academy has periodically reviewed its military training curriculum in line with the needs of the armed forces and the dynamics of the contemporary environment. However, since the outbreak of insurgency in Nigeria in 2009, there has not been any significant review to prepare the cadets for dealing with contemporary asymmetric and hybrid nature of threats being witnessed in most parts of the country today. Subsequently, in 2021, a comprehensive review of the curriculum was carried out in conjunction with the Defense and Services Headquarters. The cadets of 69 regular course of the Nigerian Defense Academy were the first to go through the revised and upgraded training, which was designed to expose them to the real-life experience of what is like in the combat front lines.
Let's shine the spotlight on the Nigerian Air Force's remarkable achievements over the last 12 months under the leadership of Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar. This special documentary, Soaring to New Heights, the NAF in the last 12 months, promises to be an exciting journey.
We are overhauling and establishing additional hospitals. The old ones that we have had, that some equipment like the CT scans, the MRIs and mammograms, quite a few equipment that we have littered around our hospitals have not been working. Some of the buildings also have not been renovated for quite some time. We are intervening one after the other. We take a hospital, we overhaul all the equipment. Where we need to procure new ones, we buy, so that once we finish with it, that hospital is now set to operate optimally and provide healthcare services to our personnel in the most optimal way that is possible for that particular organization. Then we're establishing additional ones. We recently commissioned the 065 Nigerian Air Force Hospital in Asokoro, Abuja. We have a large population of Air Force personnel as well as civilians in our Asokoro, both the Air Force Base as well as the Nigerian Air Force Valley Estates. Hitherto, there was not a single clinic or hospital within that population. So we have just established the 065 hospital to cater for that population. We have equipped it. It's a 35-bedded hospital with all the complements that make it a proper hospital. So for example, the dental, the eye, the laboratory, the maternity, and all the other aspects are the complements that make it a proper hospital. Equipment have been bought, personnel have been posted, and the hospital has started functioning. And we're also establishing others where it is required all around the country. Similarly, for the schools, we're establishing additional schools because we understand that for our personnel, if their children are not attending good schools or have no schools to attend at all, there is no way that individual, be it an officer or an airman, will concentrate and do his job adequately. So we are making sure that not only the personnel but also his family are adequately taken care of. So we're establishing quite a few schools in our Air Force bases where schools did not exist in the past. So for example, we have an additional school being established in Kaduna, Air Force Base Kaduna. We are also, from this session, 2024-2025 session, we are starting the school at Ibaraoke Secondary School, Air Force Comprehensive Secondary School. We also are establishing a primary school in Abuja here in our base near the airport at Bill Clinton Road. So quite a few places we are establishing new ones and starting from this academic year that we are going to enter. And we are also overhauling the schools one after the other. And because the students are usually in session, it's difficult to overhaul the schools when children are attending classes. So we wait whenever there is a break, that we take a school and we also overhaul it, renovate all the facilities, furniture, provide all the services that are required, so that by that going forward, that school can also operate optimally. So one after the other, we'll overhaul all the schools, overhaul all the hospitals, and the effect of this is that the overall welfare, well-being, health, and morale of our personnel will be significantly improved, and ultimately they will be able to give back and perform their duties as effectively as possible. Other areas we are intervening as far as welfare is concerned is also in provision of uniforms and personal protective equipment. We have decided that for all Air Force personnel, once every year at least, we'll provide a complete set of uniforms and accoutrements, all the types of dresses from number 1 to number 5 once every year, and all the other accoutrements, boots, belts, and all the things that are required for an Air Force personnel to be adequately dressed to be able to perform his or her duties will be provided at least once in a year. These are just a few of some of the interventions we are making in terms of the welfare of our personnel, so that they are able to focus on the task at hand and optimally, contribute their quota in our effort to take Nigerian Air Force to the next higher level.
As part of infrastructural renewal efforts, over 89 projects have either been completed or currently underway.
One of the key enablers to my command philosophy is maintaining a highly motivated force through enhancement of welfare and infrastructural renewal. On assumption of office about a year ago, I inherited a very significant amount of infrastructural deficits within the system. And then I made a commitment that I would try as much as possible to offset this deficit within the limits of available resources, because we know how direct the bearing it has in terms of the conduct of our operations and the performance of our constitutional mandates. So we have put in place several initiatives and interventions to enhance this infrastructure deficit within the system. Some of the very key areas we are intervening in terms of infrastructure include roads, residential and office accommodation, electricity, potable water, as well as other facilities. We are also carrying out very comprehensive overhaul, renovation, and rehabilitation of a lot of our buildings and facilities across all our bases around the country. Rehabilitation and renovation of buildings and facilities total about 105. Out of this, 78 of them have been completed within the past few months, and while the remainders are still ongoing, there are also a large number, totaling over 100 also, which are being carried out by our works personnel who are specialists, civil engineers, builders, and quantity surveyors. So on the whole, a very large and significant effort has been put in place in terms of renewing infrastructure and closing the gap in terms of the deficit. And I will give you an example. As at the time I was taking over, we had an accommodation deficit for the airmen in the Nigerian Air Force totaling about 10,000. I'm glad to say as of today, we have been able to cover that. By the time all the interventions we have put in place come into fruition, we'll have halved that deficit. And hopefully going forward, we'll be able to cover the other half in the coming months. We'll continue to sustain this until we close as much of the gap as possible.
The Nigerian Air Force expresses gratitude for the support from Nigerians, sister services, and other security agencies, reaffirming its commitment to safeguarding national security and enhancing operational readiness across various domains.
I want to thank my predecessors who have laid very solid foundations on which we are building to achieve what we are able to achieve within the past 1 year. Because as is often said, we can only see so far because we are standing on the shoulders of giants. In this respect, we are standing on very solid foundations that were put in place by our predecessors, and that is why we are able to build on that and achieve as much as we have been able to in the past 1 year. To all the officers, the airmen, airwomen, the civilian staff, as well as our well-wishers and our partners, collaborators for the past 1 year. I want to thank you very sincerely for all the support, all the cooperation that we have enjoyed. It's a collective. I want to also thank the Honorable Minister of Defense, the Honorable Minister of State for Defense, as well as other staff of the Ministry of Defense for their unflinching support in the past 1 year. Similarly, we want to convey our gratitude to members of the National Assembly, particularly members of the both Senate and House Committees on Defense, as well as the Air Force, for their support and cooperation in the past 1 year. And we look forward to even more support from members of the National Assembly in the coming year. On behalf of all the officers, airmen, airwomen, civilian staff of the Nigerian Air Force, we want to specially convey our sincere and heartfelt gratitude to Mr. President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Grand Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic, for his unwavering support to the Armed Forces of Nigeria, and in particular to the Nigerian Air Force. I want to assure Mr. President and indeed all Nigerians that the Nigerian Air Force, in synergy with other security services, will continue to do its best to address all the security challenges bedeviling our country. We are confident that in no distant time, a lot of these challenges will be addressed adequately, and peace, progress, and prosperity will return to all corners of the country.
As we celebrate the dawn of the new year, we take a moment to honor the brave men and women of the Nigerian Armed Forces who have made the ultimate sacrifice in the defense of our nation's territorial integrity. As we look forward to a brighter future, let us not forget the sacrifices of our fallen heroes. Let us continue to support our armed forces, that together we may build a safer, more prosperous Nigeria for all. On behalf of everyone, I wish you a happy, peaceful, and a prosperous new year. Bye for now.